Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of Big Sound Small Town, the podcast that spotlights the talented and diverse musicians in small towns and communities. This season we're branching out to include the community of people who make it possible for musicians to be able to perform their music, the producers, the recording engineers, the venue owners, and many others, and as always, the small town musicians. Remember, small town doesn't mean small talent. Hear their stories.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Wiseman, a mandolin player with the JackTown Ramblers, and today I'm here on Big Sound Small Town. Thank you, Sandy, for having me on the show, man.
Well, I'm glad to have you here.
Appreciate
I know it's a little drive down the mountain.
Oh, it's not too awful bad.
Where are you located?
I live in Marion, North Carolina, not too far from here.
Some fine musicians in Marion.
Yeah, there's fine musicians all over this state, I'll tell you.
There really are.
They're everywhere.
So,
you talked not long ago with one of our bandmates,
yeah.
Mr. Ramsey, yeah.
I did. Actually, I've never met the guy in person. We talked during the very beginning of COVID over the phone. It was a fun interview. He's a fun guy.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's a lot of fun, but he's better at a distance like that. You're probably better off not to have him in person. You know?
Well, maybe so, because he's a bass player. So we've that we share that in common. The whole jokes and everything about it. So.
He's a good. That was a good episode. I listened to that. Yeah.
He was fun. He told me stuff I didn't know. I did not really realize his part in WNCW.
Oh yeah. Him and Russ Jordan.
Yeah.
And he's a big part of that, and the big bluegrass festival in Morton.
True. Yes, he was.
The Red, White, and Bluegrass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. He told me that.
IBMA, part of the IBMA for a long time.
Oh yeah. Which is.
He's done a lot for our music.
He has. Oh, and he does he teaches bass through the.
The Jam, Junior
Jam,
Appalachian Musicians.
So, he was pretty fun with that.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with him?
How did I get involved with him? Well, he used to play with my dad.
Oh, okay.
My dad played in the Linville Ridge Band with him and his son Aaron.
Yeah.
And some of them for Perry Woody.
Yeah.
For a long time, and I've known of Mike for a long time. We've run across each other here and there and jammed and stuff, but yeah, the way he kind of come about being a part of the band was we had a gig in West Virginia at a festival sort of thing up there, and me and him were staying together in Nashville at the SPIGMA, the Society for the Preservation of Bluegrass Music in America. We were staying together in a hotel there when I got the call about that gig in West Virginia. And the guy that had been helping us before, Joe, couldn't make that gig. So when Mike showed up to the hotel room, I said, "Hey, you want to go to West Virginia and play a gig?" He said, "Yeah." And that was it. He sort of took over the bass gigs from there.
He sounds good on bass.
He's a great one, yeah, that's for sure.
He sure does. Now, you're a mandolin player. Not a lot of mandolin players around anymore, so you come from a musical family, right?
Yes, sir.
So I guess you've been playing since you were like 3 years old.
I wish I could say that. I was around it since I was in the womb, I'm sure. But never really took it up, to be honest, Sandy. I do recall being a young child, maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, getting a guitar for Christmas one year, and my dad showed me a few little things on it, and I do vaguely remember hauling it to school one time and playing in the auditorium at Glen Alpine Elementary School. And I think I might have played the Ballad of Jed Clampett and sang it on the guitar there, but that was it. I pretty much didn't take it up at all, or stick with it at all as a kid.
Didn't you tell me you did something else with your guitar case?
Yeah, I carried G.I. Joes around in it more than I played the guitar. I used the case to haul G.I. Joes around. They weren't good for that. And every now and then G.I. Joes would end up inside the guitar, too.
That's great.
And you talk about, you ever try to get a pick out of a guitar, you ought to try to shake old King Cobra out of one of them, the old G.I. Joe.
That's so funny.
But, yeah, I didn't really take it up at all until I was around 20 years old. I was probably 19, 20 before I got my first mandolin and started trying to learn it. I didn't remember anything from back when I was 2 or 3 and had learned some chords on the guitar. Not 2 or 3, 2nd or 3rd grade, and had learned a few things on the guitar.
Were you around a mandolin player at that time?
I was absolutely around a lot of great musicians. My dad being a really, really good mandolin player, fiddle player, guitar player, banjo player, mainly mandolin and fiddle, but David Wiseman, my father, was probably the single biggest influence in my life on music.
You know, they were both big influences on a lot of people.
Yeah, he was a really great mandolin player, or still was a great mandolin player, fiddle player, and back then, when I was around 18, 19, 17, I guess in that age somewhere, me and a lot of my friends would go and hear my dad's band. He was playing at the time with a band called the Stetson Band.
Yeah.
And they were a really good country band in the area. And they played a lot at a place called Smoky Creek Barbecue and other things. But I do remember going to see them a lot at Smoky Creek.
Yeah.
And it was my dad, Steve Bradshaw, Dale Myers, Dwight Parker, great bass player and singer.
Oh, I played in bands with him. Man, he's a great guy.
Yeah. Joe Eddie Shuffler played the drums. Mm-hmm. And that little band was awesome. They were a good country band. And they did some bluegrass stuff on the set, and I ate that up. Me and my buddies we enjoyed that a lot. Or I did. That's when I got the big time bug. That, and I remember going and buying. My dad he sung a song, and I can't remember what it was, but I think it might have been a Newgrass Revival, "Good Woman's Love" or something like that. And I remember. Few of the tunes that he sung or the band did that I was just like, man, I want to find copies of that, or who did that. And I'd ask, and I remember going and buying. Back then in Morganton, there was a place called Tape Town, and I found a Newgrass Revival CD that had "Good Woman's Love" on it, and I bought that and started listening at it. And really, I had never really bought any kind of bluegrass or acoustic music CDs. I was listening to other stuff back then, rock and this and that. Yeah. I like all kinds of music still today, but that's when I got bit by the bug to want to learn how to play. And when I decided I was going to play, I'm a jump in with 2 feet kind of person, and I went at it really hard trying to learn.
Well, Sam Bush is a pretty good person to emulate a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I learned any of his stuff, maybe some, but.
Well, I've seen Sam so many times at Green Acres.
I went down there.
Yeah, it's a fun place. Was a fun place. So you start playing mandolin. Now, do you instantly put yourself in a band?
No. I guess what happened with me when I started learning to play is I got a little mandolin, and my dad showed me a few little chords and Mama's Little Baby Loves Shortening Bread. He showed me a little ditty. on a couple strings with that, and I took that. I did buy a few books. I think I remember having a video VHS tape of some kind. Butch Baldessari or somebody.
Yeah.
And at the time, I wasn't really dating a whole lot. I seen a few people here and there, but I worked second shift at Broughton Hospital when I got out of high school. And I was working at Broughton Hospital in Morganton, the psych hospital, second shift, and I would pretty much, for about 2, maybe 3 years, I pretty much worked second shift, got up at 7 in the morning, played the mandolin until about 2:30 or 3 to go to work, went to work, come home, played the mandolin until I went to sleep, got up and did it again. And I pretty much just laid in there as hard as I could for 2 or 3 years, and then got to where I could play a little.
Well, you know,
I guess the first place I ever went out and played where I was around anybody and tried to do it was the Drexel Barbershop, the Jam.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've been there, yeah.
I went and dropped in there and tried to.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, of course I was. You know, I got in there and did the best I could, and over time it developed, and I got a little bit better, I guess, over the years, and got lucky enough to end up playing in different configurations with different people and getting the jam. And one of the things I'll say about this style of music is the people you meet, and I've just met and got to know and made friends with so many great people. Some of the best friends I have in this world I've met through playing music, you know.
Oh yeah, and the bluegrass community is particularly strong that way.
Yeah,
you know,
it
more
is.
so than other music forms. I think maybe because it is built around a jam more than any other style of music.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, depending on each other for help and this and that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I fill in for bands here and there.
Sure.
We've had people fill in with us. Like, there's a really great musician named Nate Moody, lives down in Lenore, and he's the number one call usually when our guitar player can't make something. We call Nate, and if he's free at all, he's willing to step in there and help us.
Yeah,
and does a great job. And like the good thing, like, it seems to be a common language. Most of us play or at least know or have heard some of the same music and songs and so on. So we can just interchange between each other. You know, I can step in and fill in with a band that I maybe have never played with before, and
yeah, that's the
vice
beautiful
versa.
part.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part with bluegrass, acoustic music, somewhat, but bluegrass more than any other. I mean, rock bands don't get together and jam
do that much,
or you know, call each other up. You just wind up not being able to play if you're a guitar player.
Yeah,
Can't
unless
play.
you get in the band, yeah.
You know, so there's just not as much. That makes for a great community of musicians.
It does. The only time that now and then, like, if somebody were to come and fill in, we have some originals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, we might have to run through that with somebody, or just not do that song.
Right. Yeah.
At that gig that day. You know,
Yeah,
don't want to do 9-pound hammer or something instead.
Yeah,
you know,
something.
There's plenty of what I would call the standards that
There
everybody
is.
knows or has heard that we can cover.
Yeah, well, and just like with any style of music, you're going to have to do covers to do your own stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out and do just your own stuff, it's not going to grow as well or as fast as if you surround it with covers.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the interesting thing, too, a lot of times with the crowds, depending on where you're playing, like with bluegrass, we may go play a winery in Hendersonville or something,
Right.
and most of the people sitting there don't even know that those are bluegrass covers because they've never heard Old Home Place. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
this is true.
for all they
Yeah,
know,
yes.
unless you do Fox on the Run, Man of Constant Sorrow or
Yeah,
something, they don't
like that.
they don't recognize half
True.
of any of it.
True.
Now that we do run into some people that are grass fans at these things that
Yeah.
know the songs and want to hear certain ones. We're calling out wanting to hear some Ralph Stanley tunes or something.
But you guys are a bluegrass band and not particularly a string band.
Yeah, I guess I'd say the majority of what we do is bluegrass oriented, but we do try to sprinkle in and branch out some. We
Right.
do some gypsy jazz sort of tunes and some swingy tunes, and
Yeah.
I guess some stuff would fall into the string band category a little bit, but primarily we're a bluegrass band. We just try to break it up.
Sure.
I guess, you know,
Sure,
'cause
stretch it out.
I love this style of music, obviously, and play it, but I can't listen to it so much
Well,
myself.
I mean,
I need it broken up.
Yeah, I need it broken up too. I mean, I'll be truthful with you. The standards that you do, sometimes it's nice to go away from 3 or 4 chords.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of tunes that do that.
You know,
you got to get away from that stuff.
I heard some almost gypsy swing stuff you guys do.
Yeah, we do some stuff like that. So a lot of not a lot, but some David Grisman tunes.
Right.
Which is, some of that stuff's out there.
Some of that stuff's
a little wild with the chord progressions.
When Tony Rice has to take lessons to play your music, that tells you the music's complicated.
Yeah.
I saw where he asked Tony to take lessons so he could play with him.
Wow.
Now, yeah, that's some pretty hard stuff.
Yeah.
If you're making Tony take lessons to play. So how about JackTown Ramblers? How long you guys been together?
I guess we've been at it in this configuration, with the 4 guys that are pretty much doing everything together now, about a year, something like that. But that name we've used back before, it all started with me and Shannon as a duet.
Oh, okay.
Doing some stuff, and then over time we've
awfully
added
good.
Oh, he's a great guitar player. You want to hear him play the banjo too?
Really?
Oh my gosh,
You guys got a good banjo player too, though.
Yeah. Brett's a great banjo player. Mike's, of course, awesome bass man and a great songwriter.
Yeah.
And I've wrote a couple tunes that we do, some instrumentals in the one song that we sing, and then Mike's got some stuff. But I feel real fortunate to play with these guys. Not only are they good musicians that can cover the type of material that you're interested in doing and have the skill and ability to do it, but the more important thing really is that you can get along and everybody gels, and there's no big heads or egos. You know, we got to put up with some of Brett's ignorance, and he likes to do that interpretive dance stuff, which is fine. It kind of drums up some business for his interpretive dance tractor repair down there in Morrison.
Whatever works.
Yeah, we're gonna do a poster of him in some leotards, wearing some of my wife's skinny jeans or something, just waving them things around and doing.
Yeah, that'd be good. I can't wait to see that.
Banjo player and interpretive dance.
You're gonna have to send me that video when you get that done. So
we have a good time, and I think a big part of. Now this is sidestepping a little bit from your question originally. I'm sorry, but I think a big part of a band going out and playing is as big, or maybe a bigger part of it, is not the music you play and how well you sing and play together and all that, but you got to be entertaining.
Yeah,
you got to have some good stage presence, be able to talk to the people, interact, and you get them on your side, you've got it whipped.
Well,
it's easy from there.
You know how many times we've probably both gone to see people that we really like when we listen to them on record and see them live and go, I'm a little disappointed, Yeah, he just stood there and sang, or she just stood there and sang.
Yeah. It's a whole different ball game. The performance side of it.
It is.
And the bands that, to me, that I enjoy watching are people like Dale McCurry, smiling the whole time, having a big old time, and and you'll see these great musicians that you look up to make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're all human.
Yeah.
And when people make a mistake, it makes it real, and
it
just
does.
Laugh and go on. John Duffy used to.
John Duffy.
He'd hit the wrong note, be sharp or something. He'd say, "Wow," and the whole crowd would just laugh and go on with it. It's almost like it endears them.
Yeah, John's one of a kind, man.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That man is.
It's a good thing he was one of a kind.
It is a good thing.
I don't think the world could handle two.
I don't think they could. I mean, he is so talented, but he is so different too.
Yeah, he was funny.
I mean, you would have a hard time if you were around him much thinking that he was a bluegrass mandolin player.
Yeah, I know.
So, but yeah, that's a good example of there, and they were so good at being entertainers also, and that is a big part of it. I mean, it's called entertainment business. Live bands do better if they're entertaining than if they just stand there and play.
Oh yeah, I was running sound a few years ago, year and a half ago, before this COVID stuff hit, at the Spillway in Marion for bands that would come in there.
Yeah.
And see some really great, very good, talented people come and play. That, not to knock them at all. I'm not saying anything negative, but they played their songs and never spoke to the crowd and never interacted.
Spillway's a good place, though. Man, that's a good place.
Yeah.
So they let y'all play bluegrass in there too?
Yeah, we were playing there pretty regular. Of course, right now things are closed down there.
Right. Oh yeah, things are closed down. Yeah, things are closed down. Let's address that. Now, tell me about playing music during the COVID time. What you guys have done?
it's been different. We've actually taken up. We did a few live streams from Mike's basement. And that went pretty good. You know, I think there's a balance of keeping things out in front of people a little bit.
Yeah.
We were lucky. We had a lot of cancellations, just like everybody else did, and we lost a lot of gigs that were planned. But at the same time, we had plenty still to do, I feel like.
Right.
We didn't have but a small period there where we didn't play any.
That's good.
And then things kind of stayed back up. A lot of our stuff had been outdoors in places that were socially distancing and trying to be safe and smart about it. And we've been able to get out and play and stayed fairly busy. And here just a week or so ago, booked 8 or 10 gigs for next year.
That's great.
Already. And we're actually going to be playing, I don't know when this is going to air, but we're going to be playing here in Shelby coming up real soon. And we're playing this Saturday in Hendersonville at Point Lookout Vineyards.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, obviously during this time also, you found time to do some recording?
Yeah. I've got a little project out. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking about.
Yeah, so I've got a little album that just come out here in September. It was released about the middle of September. And I recorded this myself. I played everything on it. I'm playing mandolin, guitar, and bass.
Oh, okay.
And it's a mandolin album. It's all instrumentals. There's 13 tracks. I wrote 3 of them. And, of course, I got some Frank Wakefield and some Bill Monroe on here. But I also got a tune recorded by a friend of mine, Alan Babby. He's a mandolin player.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Great. He's won Mandolin Player of the Year the last 2 years.
Yeah, I know him.
Recorded one of his tunes. And another friend, Emery Lester, let me record one of his. I talked with them, and they were gracious enough to let me record some songs that they wrote, which were very challenging tunes. But it's done all right. It's been out for I guess it's been out about a month and a half now, and it's on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Panda. Well, I don't know about Panda. I know it's on all kinds of platforms.
Right.
Amazon Music, all that good shit.
Well, now, can you get a real copy of it?
You can get a real copy.
Band?
You can get a real copy if you come see the band, or you go on the band website and look at my page. There's a link on there to where you can order it online. I'll mail it out to you. I've sent them everywhere. Germany, Japan. I've mailed these. You wouldn't. Funny thing is to hear about I don't know if the timing. I guess just I was lucky. I put out the record about the middle of September, and about a week later, I was asked by David Benedict on Mandolin Mondays to do a Mandolin Monday episode.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I recorded the Mandolin Monday episode, and that went up on the Mandolin Cafe. And then Scott at the Mandolin Cafe, which is a website, he asked about doing a little news write-up on the release, and that just made it.
Oh, yeah. That always
really
helps.
did good. Like, all of a sudden, I had 4,000 or 5,000 streams on Spotify, just like that. And I was like, wow, this is... Now, the 4,000 or 5,000, bluegrass music's made me the 100 air I am.
Yes, I do. Podcasting has made me. Yes.
You don't make any money doing it, but that ain't why we're doing it.
No,
we do it for the love of it.
It's not. It's anybody that gets into the music for the money's sake will be badly disappointed.
That's right.
They're going to find out real fast that a lot of other things pay better. Well, you know what they say, only band people load up, $10,000 worth of instruments into a
$500 car.
Exactly, and
drive 500 miles to make $50.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every musician does that.
That's the way it is.
Or if you're bluegrass players, you do it for hot dogs and beer.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's kind of a joke. That's not the case anymore. I mean, but it used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, bluegrass. A lot of it helps with festivals, but actually one of the godsends these days for all musicians, but particularly bluegrass musicians, have been craft breweries.
Yeah, we've done some brewery stuff and wineries too. Wineries are a big thing.
Yeah, craft breweries and wineries has been good for that. More places to play than there used to be.
Yeah,
better places to play than there used to be. So now, okay, I'm going to have to. This is varying from the subject here, but you have a very interesting musical family.
Yeah, we.
You need to touch on that so people know
Okay.
about that. I mean,
Sure.
it's unlike most people. There's a good bit more to your music heritage than a lot of people's.
Yeah, I guess that's true. There's like I said already, my dad, David Wiseman, well respected, great
Well,
musician, played with a lot of different folks over the years, played with, what was that name of the band he was in with Jason Burleson, Perry Woody and them? I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but maybe I'll come back to that. He's played with a lot of great bands over the years, Raymond Fairchild, a lot of different people. And then his parents, or his dad, played. I've got my grandfather's guitar at the house, old Gibson guitar.
Yeah, that's great.
It's really good. I used it to record this record.
Oh.
And my grandfather's brother, Kent Wiseman, was a great banjo player, way ahead of his time. He was killed. Him and his whole family was killed in a car accident by a drunk driver in the 50s, I think it was. Then there's Lula Bell and Scotty Wiseman, who really well known for their music stuff.
Yes, they are. I've actually been on shows. Of course, I'm stating my age too, but that they were on. So great musicians.
They were the National Barn Dance, WLS. In Chicago, they had that big thing, which was big, and WSM, Grand Ole Opry Barn Dance. They were a big part of that from the 30s to the 40s. They had 20 million Americans tuned in regularly to that show.
Yeah,
they were
did.
huge. They were called the Sweethearts of the Opry.
Yep.
They had some pretty big hits with. This is early country music, kind of. Really.
Yeah, it is really.
They did the National Barn Dance. They were just huge.
They were huge.
Recorded on Columbia Records, Bluebird Records, and Scotty Wiseman's in the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it should be. Without a doubt.
Once they stopped kind of playing music and moved back up to Spruce Pine, where all my family's from,
right.
Scotty went to teaching school, and Lula Bell went on to become a North Carolina House representative, and was one of the first maybe the first female representative for the North Carolina.
See, that's something to be really proud of too.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then my grandfather's brother, Jimmy Wiseman, great fiddle player who played. He actually lived in Forest City, and we're here at the Earl Scruggs Center recording this. Everybody knows who Earl Scruggs is.
Yep.
Foggy Mountain Breakdown, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs.
Sure.
I mean, he's a legend if there ever was one in this type of music. Well, him and Jimmy played together as teenagers here in Shelby. They used to play together when they were teenagers. My great uncle Jimmy Wiseman.
Well, they're both fine musicians, no doubt.
And Jim played all over the country, from Alaska, lived in California, and worked at what was the name of that? I'm trying to think of the big city out there. He's on the Arthur Smith show.
That's thinking about that. Arthur Smith used to draw from that area. Actually, a lot of musicians to be on his show sometime.
Yeah.
And I actually saw him on Arthur Smith.
Oh, did you?
And being a fiddler, that was one of the things that I was always drawn to, is fiddle players. And I actually watched Arthur Smith twice a day as a kid growing up.
Oh, yeah.
In the mornings and at night it would come on. So I saw a lot. A guy named Bobby Denton, who was from that area.
Bobby's from down here in Moores. Yeah.
He's from kind of that area. He was on there too.
Mm-hmm. Bobby's a great player too.
Yeah, Bobby's a great player too. Yeah.
Him and my dad played together a lot over the years. And then Jimmy, he did his thing all over the country playing music. He was in the early part of big country stuff for a long time.
Right.
And then my great aunt, my grandfather's sister, married Charlie Moore, who was a great bluegrass singer, songwriter, and
he was.
I can't go through all the things he did, but he was a pretty big deal in the bluegrass thing.
He was a pretty big deal in bluegrass. Yes, he was.
And he married he was married till he died, Lois Constable, who's also well known. son, Billy Constable.
Yes.
One of the greatest musicians
I agree.
ever around. I mean, he could play anything.
Yeah, Billy was the bomb. Billy could play anything. He was.
And I don't mean just play it. I mean, make
yeah.
everybody sit up and take notice. We were actually playing a gig in Asheville one night, and this guy that was into Django Reinhardt style guitar, and I can't remember the guy's name, super nice guy, showed up at our thing.
Francois Viola.
No, I know Francois, but that wasn't who it was.
Okay.
Francois is back in France now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, but him and my dad played together a lot.
That's just one of the people I know who does that.
Francois,
So
he's a good old boy.
Yeah, Francois is, yeah.
So anyway, this guy shows up and he was talking about, I forget how it come up, but we were talking about music and he was talking about the big swing, gypsy jazz kind of Django jam thing that went on in the Asheville area about once a year, and that it's all these really great Django style players, that were there, and somehow Billy come up, and he had no idea that I was related to Billy, but he was talking about Billy because Billy had just passed not long before that. And,
Billy was fabulous.
And he said, man, this cat from down your way used to come up there. And he'd show up. His name was Billy Constable. And he said he would show up, man, and everybody take notice. And this cat just blowed everybody away. He'd embarrass people. And I was like, and Billy didn't even play that style of music often.
True.
He could just.
Yeah.
And he'd play a Yamaha guitar with action an inch high on it,
which I always was. But that tells you right there that a lot of times it's the player, not the instrument.
That's exactly right. He was great.
Yeah, I saw him do that. Now, which was,
he played with the Dillards. And of course, Charlie Moore, an interesting little story, and I think maybe Mike touched on this, but when I was born, my dad was off playing music. Right. I think at a college somewhere, an all-girls college or something. He was playing music somewhere anyway, and it was snowing. It was bad weather. It was November, and I was born in Banner Elk Hospital, and I think Charlie Moore bought a little pair of baby-sized cowboy boots and went by where my dad was playing and pinned a note on the boots and put them in the front seat of Daddy's car. So when he come out from the gig, he would find it, and it said, "Go by the hospital. Somebody there wants to see you." And Charlie Moore left that note for my dad to go to the hospital because I was here.
Yeah. That's too cool, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's kind of neat. But yeah, the whole family had a lot of history of that style of music. And we had a huge bluegrass festival that Lois put on, my great aunt Lois, for Kent Wiseman, the one that was killed in the car accident. And it was at the Kent Wiseman Memorial Park, Kent Wiseman Memorial Bluegrass Festival, and it had I wish I had brought some flyers to show you, Sandy. It had everybody that was everybody back then came and played the festival. Stayed at my grandparents' house.
Oh, that's too
Bill
cool.
Monroe, Lester Flatt, Earl Scruggs, Mac Wiseman, everybody was there. Keith Whitley and Ricky Skaggs when they was with Ralph Stanley played there. Yeah. All of these folks came and they did this big festival for years, and eventually it died out, but man, I've got some of the flyers at the house from that original festival.
I'd love that.
And it's just the top names in bluegrass back then would come and play that festival. And it was on our family land in Spruce Pine up in Avery County, North Carolina.
That's too cool.
And Eddie Lovelace, you know Eddie?
I do.
Okay. So Eddie's my cousin, bass player,
Man, yeah.
Well, Eddie was in the car when Kent and the family was killed. He was the only survivor in the car accident. And Eddie's house is the stage where that festival was.
Oh.
He built the stage that these people all stood on and played is Eddie's living room. He built around it and made a house there on that land. He owned the land, and he lives on the front stage on the main stage of the
That is too cool.
Bluegrass Festival.
That is really, really cool.
And it was huge. I mean, people came from everywhere. From what I heard and had been told is one of the things that kind of had it stopped was the traffic was so bad.
Much.
Like it was backed up on
sure
I-40 trying to get to Spruce Pine.
Wow.
Which you know how far I-40 is from Spruce Pine.
Yeah, pretty good place. Yeah.
It was a huge festival.
That's a huge festival, no doubt. That's,
my grandmother burnt Bill Monroe's biscuits and said he never said a word about it.
That's
he
a
just
great
ate
story.
them. Yeah.
that's
and my dad's little band, Leather Britches, they played at that festival. That was him and Billy Constable and Eddie and some of them.
Wow, that's a great story there.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's cool.
I'm
proud to be a part of all that. I hope that someday I'm laying my own stamp to the entire name as a musician, as a band and family or whatever, you know.
I see that you are. That's a good.
I don't know.
You have children?
I got 3 I know of. I'm just kidding. I got 3 kids. I got a boy who's 16, a girl who's 15, and another girl who's about to turn 13.
Are they musically inclined?
A little bit. My son hasn't never taken up any interest. Of course, neither did I. I
Course,
was just like him.
say.
When I turned 20, I was eat up with it.
Exactly.
But he has no interest, and if he never does, that's fine too. My oldest daughter, Geneva, actually got a song on here. The second song on this album is called Geneva's Dream, and it's named after her, kind of. But she has taught herself how to play the ukulele, the keyboards, and the guitar on her own. I've never showed her a chord even. Yeah. I can't play a ukulele. I don't know the first thing on it. I can't play a keyboard.
No one should.
She's yeah. She's taught herself how to play all kinds of stuff on these things, all on her own.
Right.
And of course, none of it's bluegrass style stuff.
Right.
But she does some gospel things and popular music that she likes listening to, whatever the little country stars are right now and all that.
I was just trying to see if this was going to move on down the line.
My other daughter, my youngest, she has messed with the bass a little bit, and she's messed with the mandolin just a little bit, and they play ball.
Sure.
And they've got so much school pressure nowadays all these different things going on, and so.
Oh, I agree.
Well, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. You know, I'm not concerned with it. Obviously, I would like to see the legacy carried on somehow through my nieces and nephews or my own children or somebody, because eventually it'll die off if it don't. And it's just such a strong legacy, the name, the Wiseman, with this type of music. I'd hate to see it just die off.
Not only that, Wiseman's tied to something else too with North Carolina, is it not? Is there not a view of the Brown Mountain Lights?
Brown Mountain Lights, yep.
So,
and who was it wrote that song?
Yeah, Tommy Fail.
Yeah.
Well, is that, since that's the view, did that come somehow?
I believe it's named through the family.
Yeah, I think it
has something to do with that.
Yeah, I figured it did. I've sit up there at that overlook many times trying to see the Brown Mountain Lights, and
there's a lot of stories about what that is and stuff. That's a cool. That draws people from all over the world.
It does
to see.
It does.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that I've ever seen them, but I've gone to look for them.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
I've seen them.
I've never seen them. But
yeah, it's really wild, the light rising and falling out of the.
Sure.
And there's stories of all, people can research it and look it up if they haven't heard about the Brown Mountain Lights.
Sure, that's a worthy story to look up. Also, yeah,
for sure.
It is, and it's played. Brown Mountain Light is played in music history too. Been a part of music history too. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
So it's that's pretty broad. What else we need to know
about
you?
About me? Oh Lord, nothing really.
Well, you got anything else we need to know about your family, your band?
Oh, the band's doing good. We're staying busy and doing what we do, and I love playing with them boys. We are actually in the studio recording right now. We're working on a record, and hopefully I'll have that out real soon.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be coming down the pike.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And you are going to be in our area really soon.
Over at the Dragonfly Wine Market coming up here.
Yeah, what's the date on that?
The date on that one's going to be November 14th. That's actually my birthday.
Oh.
We'll be here on that day. And then November 7th, here this Saturday, we're going to be at Point Lookout Vineyards up in Hendersonville.
Oh, that sounds good.
So come check us out if you get a chance.
I'll have to tell our listeners that a computer blew up.
Yeah, we had a little time with that.
We're running this from...
the smoke didn't get too bad.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't too bad. It's pretty embarrassing for me, but fortunately, I went back to the very beginning of when I started this podcast and ran it from the very original app that I did it in. And
hopefully it's working just fine.
Well, I think it has, and this app has worked to get this podcast to about 40 countries. So
wow, that's cool,
so
man.
I'm sure somebody.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
I'm sure somebody's sitting in Iceland saying, "Yes, I got to listen to this mandolin player." You know.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, they probably are, but you know.
Well, they can look up the record if they want to hear any of this off my little solo project. It's called Off the Cuff.
Okay.
They can go on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, any of those sort of platforms, right. Google Play Store, right. And just search Gabriel Wiseman, and the album's called Off the Cuff. It'll pop up. I mentioned that Geneva's Dream. If you want to use that to play your intro,
yeah, I will.
That's I was standing in the kitchen playing around with this little melody that I was just goofing around with it, and it was starting to come together a little bit. And here comes my daughter Geneva in the kitchen, and she is just beside herself. You know how kids can be.
Yeah.
And she's going on and on about this crazy dream she had, where me and her mama married her off to some older man. And I forget all the details, but this dream was really something else, you know, and she's just all excited and going on and on about it. And then she asked me when it's over, "You're not going to do that, are you? Like, you're not going to marry me off to this man who sells chocolate or some, you know, some crazy stuff." So anyway, I ended up coining that one Geneva's Dream.
That's pretty cool. That is really cool.
But
yeah.
Man, I appreciate being a part of the show, and thank you so much for having.
I appreciate you
me on here.
Bringing your very interesting story to the Earl Scruggs Center and being a part of it.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.